I clearly made a mistake putting that computer in his room. I allowed the computer to become too much of his life. My son had these online relationships going on that were completely invisible to me. And right after Christmas, we got into a routine. We would go down into the basement, we put on the red boxing gloves. And we had this conversation one night. I said, now, Ryan, you know how to fight. The last thing I want to see happen now is that you now start picking fights at school. Don't ever want to learn that you're now the bully. But I did say to him, I said, Ryan, if that kid or any of his friends ever lay a single finger on you, you've got my full permission to wail on them. All I kept asking myself was why? Why? I kept crying. Why, Ryan? Why did you do this?
Anybody who would look at him as a child and then have a crystal ball and see into the future as to how he would die, you just wouldn't believe it.
I started to say, okay, there has to be something here. At the time, I was concerned about what everybody was concerned about, predators and pedophiles, right? I mean, that was what the media was talking about. You heard the horror stories. I thought, let me go log on to his AOL account. Let me see if Ryan's friends will open up to me online.
I saw Ryan's screen name pop up, and I was really angry, actually. I thought someone was just playing a big joke, and to me, that was not funny at all.
All these instant messages started popping up. Who are you? What are you doing? This isn't funny. Get off of Ryan's account. And I was typing back as fast as I could. I'm Mr. Halligan. Is there anything anybody's willing to share with me that might explain why Ryan did what he did?
We just started talking about what I knew. People would say things to Ryan over the internet and at school. Like, you were such a loser, and just really mean things. I didn't stick up for him at the time because I thought, it was just that middle school bullying. It happens. But it was real, and it really hurt him.
Back in my day, if you're getting bullied at the schoolyard, you come home and you have your safe haven. But not for Ryan. He came home and did what every other kid did. He went online, and then now the taunts got to continue at home as well.
I guess the fun is like dropping the bomb, oh, just kidding. And then that like crushed him. I mean, you wouldn't do that to someone's face, but online it's completely different. You can do whatever you want, and no one can do anything. You're at your house, they're at their house. It's different.
There's something about reading words. You read it over and over again, and you start to believe it. The words make it real. One kid told me, you never know if it's your best friend or your worst enemy that's doing this, because so much of it comes to you anonymously, so you never know who to trust.
The two of them were spending a lot of time exchanging information that they were finding online that had to do with suicide. and death. They found one website that taught you how to hang yourself. So it gave you how to tie the noose.
There was a website that Ryan and this boy visited and they commiserated on, that you plug in your personality traits and what you like and dislike, and then they spit out the best way you can commit suicide.
The most chilling conversation was actually a very short one. Ryan started off saying, "Tonight's the night I think I'm going to do it." And the kid fired back, "It's about blank in time." I approached him online with Ryan's ID, and I said, "I'm Ryan's dad," and I asked him, were you friends with Ryan? And he said yes. And I said, "Did you guys ever talk about death and suicide?" And he said no. I just flat out asked him, "So what is your name?" And he gave me his real name. And while I still had him online, I called the house, and I got the father on the phone. And I introduced myself to him, and I said, "I'm afraid that your son is perhaps thinking of doing what my son had done." The response was kind of weird. It was, he first said, "Well, I know nothing about computers. I don't have an email account, so you can't email this to me." And I said, "Well, I'd like to get it to you somehow." And he said, "Well, I'll have my wife call you when she comes home from work." That evening went by, never got a call. Another day went by, no call. I had so much unresolved pain, and I instinctively wanted somebody to pay for this. I wanted to blame somebody so desperately. Blame. I feel the computer, I can't blame the computer. The computer and the internet were not the cause of my son's suicide, but they helped, I believe they helped amplify and accelerate the hurt and the pain that he was trying to deal with that started in person in the real world.